haven't had issues with Puff. I don't like him like that. Like, I don't like things that you do and make me uncomfortable.
So we're speaking on Diddy. We're speaking on Puff.
Yeah, okay. The new lawsuit called with Jay. The part with Jay. I go, oh shoot, like.
Oh shit!
I had to be there.
We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? United we stand. And ain't nothing else.
I guess so. They're sitting like, yeah. All right, but Jay definitely not that. That's definitely not. It's just being competitive.
Instead of whispering the new 50 documentary's soundtrack shouts, "Thesis not your average expose of a superstar." The music industry's inner circle is being completely dismantled. It also specifically targets Diddy and Jay-Z. Everyone is talking about 50 Cent's latest documentary, not because of what it shows, but because of what it eventually reveals. For decades, there were whispers about Diddy, Jay-Z, and the muted power systems that shaped hip-hop.
Funny, y'all. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared.
But now the silence is broken as Curtis 50 Cent Jackson re-enters the conversation using Netflix's The Reckoning not just to revisit Sean Diddy Combs' alleged misconduct, but to question who may have been sacrificed along the way as hip-hop rose to global dominance. This time, 50 isn't chasing controversy for shock value. He's dissecting power, silence, and the machinery behind fame, pulling apart narratives that once felt untouchable, from Diddy's legal unraveling to Jay-Z's carefully protected mystique. The documentary suggests an industry governed by a small circle where loyalty was rewarded, silence was bought, and reputations were engineered through contracts, court filings, and insider influence, forcing viewers to reconsider whether the version of success we've been sold was ever real at all. One of the film's most compelling messengers on the long-rumored tension between 50 Cent and Jay-Z, portraying it not as petty rivalry, but as a deeper battle over who gets to control hip-hop's story, its legacy, and ultimately its throne.
That's why you've never heard me say anything negative about him. You see what I'm saying? And also connected to like M, because M's our relationship. My Eminem is Dr. Dre is Eminem's. So I am to Eminem to me is what Dr. Dre is to Eminem.
Yeah.
So to disrespect him in any way, it's just you're out of pocket. You're not even following the chain of command.
Jay-Z, by contrast, is portrayed as calm, meticulous, and ruthlessly strategic. A businessman who mastered chess while others were still playing checkers. Yet at the center of it all stood Diddy, the ultimate connector who used parties as power hubs and music as leverage. Not just to celebrate culture, but to control access. In the documentary, Diddy isn't framed as merely the life of the party in the 1990s, but as a gatekeeper who could make or break careers, with insiders claiming the system wasn't about competition at all, but containment. What looked like friendly business rivalry, the film argues, was actually deliberate control, where certain names were elevated through awards, radio play, and deals, while others quietly vanished. Allegedly orchestrated by the same figures fans once idolized. One of the most explosive claims suggests Diddy and Jay-Z may have participated in a label-driven effort to suppress emerging East Coast artists in the early 2000s, not out of artistry, but profit, as Southern club records, cheaper, faster, and easier to control, became more lucrative than New York artists demanding ownership and massive contracts. According to an executive interviewed, labels quietly delayed projects, cut funding, and sidelined rappers who didn't fit the new model. With Diddy and Jay-Z positioned at the top of that hierarchy. A theory that directly ties into 50 Cent's story Black Ballad in New York after early mixtape success, forced to look west and ultimately breaking through only after aligning with Dr. Dre and Eminem.
Eminem.
Oh, you put that thing on the wall. So you see how we do it here on Saturday, just as good as you see how we do it here on Saturday, just as good as.
They wanted peace. It's a troubling Lanito flipped the music narrative that fans have been following for years. Maybe 50's success wasn't a victory despite the industry. It might have been a warning or a reminder of the repercussions for violating the system's regulations. The documentary will not ignore the long-standing, often misunderstood connection between Jay-Z and Diddy. For years, they have presented themselves as unique titans. Two moguls with their own lanes are only connected by respect and accomplishment. But a 1950s documentary points to something deeper. A secret.
2020, y'all. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared.
We had an alliance founded on shared interests and secrets. The two were often seen together at VIP parties, industry events, and charity galas while spearheading important corporate partnerships that transformed hip-hop's financial paradigm. At one point in the documentary, the most awkward questionto date is posed. If Diddy's death was this significant, what does it say about those who stood behind him?
He signed his contract. The big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he gets trophies. No, trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. He didn't show up. He only had like 20 now. He had like 18 since he's been down. He had one, bro.
His success is derived from the marriage.
Absolutely been treated differently.
The accolade, because he's no longer viewed as like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position of Beyonce.
Oh wow! So that's the deal.
The other ones didn't count as much as that one did.
But once Diddy was found guilty of trafficking and exploitation in 2025, the public began to scrutinize those claims again. The documentary raises questions about how Jay-Z has escaped punishment while so many of his peers fail, even though it makes no accusations against him. Is it chance or leverage? Through pictures, interviews, and court records, the film portrays a friendship built on strategy, a music business group disguising itself as brotherhood, two men who understood there was more to being powerful than just punching people. As the wall started to close in, the focus shifted to controlling narratives, silencing enemies, and defending one another. The documentary's most controversial section is this one. The movie features industry insiders and cultural commentators who assert that Jay-Z and Beyoncé's marriage was more than just a romantic relationship. This is known as the Beyoncé contract.
You can look at that and say the association to Beyonce is when he started to receive the 16 Grammys since he's been with Beyonce. Right? And you go prior to that, one. You see what I'm saying? So that came to the association, like you see their kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing. They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming to the award show. It meant that much to the culture that they just gave them.
After they were married, everything was different. All of a sudden, Jay-Z was more than just a rapper. He stood for black greatness, aspiration, and family. He and Beyoncé went on to become a billion-dollar business and the American pop culture royal couple. It is revealed by the documentary's narrator. After he signed the contract, the awards began to come in. In just a few years, Jay-Z's reputation underwent a significant transformation. He was easily winning Grammys, working with luxury companies, and hosting presidential fundraisers.
Why are you so on top of the business side of Jay-Z? You know what I'm saying? Some people like to just be an artist.
Yeah, I was actually forced to be an artist and a businessman because when I tried to get a deal, I couldn't get a deal, so I had to create Rockefeller Records. We actually created Rockefeller Records from nothing. And, so I was forced to know both sides of the business.
By linking himself with Beyoncé's flawless image, he was able to erase past controversies and recast himself as untouchable. But not everyone is captivated by the love story. Some of the documentary sources claim that Beyoncé's influence over Jay-Z has grown into a business alliance where the lines between leverage and love are blurred by financial control, influence, and image.
There's a lot going on behind closed doors. That's only one case that we withdrew for right now. But it's a lot going on, you know, how this industry works. These judges, these lawyers, these high celebrity people, they try to use all different types of tactics and call it what you want, bully tactics and different types of stuff to, you know, slow it down and just change the narrative. So it's like,
in this game, love and power often commito the same conclusion. Just when viewers believe the documentary could go no further, it turns to one of Jay-Z's most personal and drawn-out scandals. The Rear Sadweight paternity story.
The stuff being a victim of fraud. Because the underlying issues with this case is dealing with void orders, fraudulent things, attorneys do. Now, most of you know, this is all about money. In the very beginning, it started out, of course, me doing the complaint.
Rather than being shown as a celebrity chaser, Lily Coley, Rhee's godmother and longtime legal guardian, is shown as a woman on the edge who has spent years fighting a legal machine considerably greater than herself. Music using archive interviews, court documents, and moving voiceovers, the document demonstrates how Coley has accused the New Jersey Attorney General's office of fabricating court records in order to keep Jay-Z from ever having a DNA test.
I had to go to bankruptcy court. And the reason why I went to bankruptcy court was to have them help me with what they call an adversary complaint. An adversary complaint deals with my inheritance, which was my property that had a legal lien on it. Because the underlying issues with this case is dealing with void orders, fraudulent things, those all things were used to put a lien on.
The latest documents, which are portrayed in the film, go much farther, alleging that state officials fabricated past rulings to thwart her case, and that the pressure has left her impoverished and mentally traumatized. She claims that others in positions of power and influence have routinely emptied her bank accounts, lent money on her property, and silenced her. In one haunting clip, a woman speaks with a trembling voice, saying, "Money no longer matters because this is about truth, even if telling it costs her everything." And the documentary is careful not to declare guilt or innocence, but instead poses a far more unsettling question. If a system is willing to go to such lengths to protect one powerful figure, what else is it hiding? 50 Cent frames this as a broader metaphor for how wealth shields the elite, noting in voiceover that when the powerful hide behind paperwork, truth becomes the first casualty, a theme underscored by a stark split screen of off-a-dead childhood photo on one side and Jay-Z's vast empire on the other, reminding viewers that truth always leaves traces. From there, the film pivots from courtroom to boardroom, scrutinizing Jay-Z's billion-dollar partnership with the NFL and its aftermath, especially the way his leadership of the league's social justice initiatives followed Colin Kaepernick's protests. A move many once hailed as progress, but which the documentary reframes as a transaction rather than transformation. Critics like Dame Dash, shown in archival footage, call it a betrayal dressed up as advancement, arguing they didn't fight just to be absorbed. While images of Astle and signed Kaepernick are contrasted with glitzy halftime shows curated by Rock Nation, the film suggests Jay-Z's evolution from rebel voice to corporate gatekeeper represents a larger problem, summed up by one analyst who says representation without resistance isn't progress, it's performance. And it leaves viewers with an uncomfortable question. When does fighting the system quietly turn into becoming part of it? Promoters, industry insiders, and former associates recount uneasy memories from the 1990s and early 2000s, describing a man who moved like royalty long before the crown was ever placed on his head, surrounded by vanity, power, and silence. One former Cancun club promoter recalls a tense near-violent confrontation at an upscale event where Jay-Z allegedly arrived late, ignored security and local hosts, and carried himself as if rules simply didn't apply. While the documentary also revisits long-standing claims that he avoided DNA testing in past legal disputes and cut off anyone who questioned his carefully controlled narrative without making new accusations, the film assembles a pattern. Power, concealment, and silence underscored by 50 Cent's chilling narration over archival footage. Power reveals people, it doesn't transform them. The closing montage replaces tabloid headlines with corporate press releases, illustrating how on the climb from the streets to the executive suite image eclipsed authenticity. Before the film widens its lens beyond any single artist to expose what 50 calls the invisible hand, a shadow network of CEOs, investors, and radio programmers who quietly shape charts, awards, playlists, and careers. Anonymous insiders claim nothing is organic. Songs disappear if they threaten profits, artists are labeled difficult if they grow too independent. And visual timelines link chart dominance to a small cluster of powerful corporations, drawing parallels to artists like Lauryn Hill, Kanye West, and 50 himself when they challenge the system. The takeaway is stark and unsettling. In hip-hop, the biggest empire isn't a label or an artist, but the illusion of freedom itself, because it's never about who's the greatest, it's about who the system chooses to bet on. As the film closes, it returns to the people who built hip-hop from the ground up, artists, fans, and dreamers. Where younger rappers describe 50 Cent as authentic, accessible, and still connected to the streets, while Jay-Z is portrayed as distant, insulated by security, lawyers, and billion-dollar interests. A contrast that becomes the documentary's emotional core as a narrator asks which image truly earns loyalty, the reachable hustler or the untouchable icon. Rather than offering easy answers, the film challenges viewers to consider whether hip-hop has become a mirror of corporate America or a reflection of the people, punctuated by 50's final gut punchline that while the powerful are protected by silence, culture is protected by voice even when it's messy. The closing moments hint at a sequel, teasing sealed records, unreported settlements, and forgotten testimony that could further reshape perceptions of hip-hop's elite before 50 stands before a wall of court documents and declares, "Don't let the truth fade." It's just waiting for someone brave enough to reveal it. As the credits roll with courtroom clips and flashing cameras, the message lingers. From Diddy's downfall to allegations surrounding Jay-Z's empire, this story isn't over. So, was success earned or manufactured? Share your thoughts. Like the video if you enjoyed the breakdown and subscribe to Holly Hype TV to stay locked in for what comes next.